Have you ever spent so long creating the perfect email to someone, like getting it that perfect balance of funny and professional, short and concise so it doesn't take too much time to read, but also like long enough to have enough context and to really try and build a rapport with this person that you're reaching out to? And then 2 weeks later, when you've not had a response, you can't help but take it really personally and think, maybe you're like sitting by your inbox waiting for the day that person replies. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking you through the most important skill I believe every single person in the VR industry should have, and that is the art of follow-up. I'm Alex Rule, and this is the Alex Makes VR podcast. So about a month ago, I put out an episode called Finding the Right Clients, or the best way to find clients. It was episode number 2 of my 31-day challenge, which if you haven't listened to that series, I think you'll get loads of value from it. Every day, basically, for 31 days, I answered a new creative or business-related question from VR creators or people looking to get into the VR space. And in that episode, basically, what I outlined was an email template that has made me a lot of money. But not only that, but it's made listeners of the podcast a lot of money, because it's crazy how much of a difference it makes to have a good killer email etiquette. So I break down a formula in that episode about how to go about reaching out to new people, new clients, new collaborators, whatever it might be. Just a really simple formula and a new way to think about emails, because I think people tend to go and anyway, I won't get into it because I get into it in extensive detail in that episode. So go check that out. What I didn't say in that episode, which I probably should have alluded to, is that is only half the battle. Writing that killer email is like giving yourself, it's like fueling the car, right? It's like filling up the tank with gas. Writing the perfect opening email is like filling up your car full of petrol, and follow-up is driving the car. Right? So you've given yourself the best chance possible for someone to reply to your email if you followed that formula. But the next step is acknowledging that there are 1,000,001 reasons why someone wouldn't necessarily get around to reading that email. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the people that read that email will not want your service. Like, they are just for all sorts of reasons, but they're not your target audience maybe, or they're just not interested at that time. There's 1,000,001 reasons. There'll be like a couple of people, maybe 1 or 2, that get back to you straight away and they're like, yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you for reaching out. And then there's this other group of people. And this probably accounts for, I would say, if you've done the email correctly and if you've done your research on the person correctly, this other subsection of people, I should say, they will account for like quite a few of the people that receive your email, which is that they got your email. It was a great email. They appreciated it. They were like, they've been listening to Alex Makes VR's podcast, I see. They probably appreciate the email, but they were doing 1,000,001 things that day, or their calendar was back to back, or they were right in the middle of writing a proposal, or they looked at their email on their phone and they forgot to mark it as starred or unread, so they forgot to come back to it, or they were midway through replying to you, but then someone called and they got dragged off. There's 1,000,001 reasons why someone might not have replied to that email, and now they've forgotten about it. And because it wasn't necessarily a priority for them, because if it was a priority, they would have been in the other camp of people that just reached out straight away. Because it wasn't a priority, they've kind of forgotten about it. And so this is where follow-up comes in. I always say, well, I think I'm not sure whether I included this in that email formula, but I will always try and say in my email, if I don't hear from you, I'll follow up in a couple of weeks, or something to the effect of, would there be a good time to talk? If there's not a suitable time, then I'll follow up with you in a couple of weeks' time or something. So you can actually add that into your initial email if you want. It depends on how long your email is to begin with, because then also that gives someone the opportunity to just reply and say no thank you, because they know that you're going to follow up with them if they don't reply to you. So that might be an option. But If not, regardless, either way, I always, especially if it's someone that I'm really, really interested in hearing back from, I will set a kind of alert in my calendar. I live by my calendar. Set an alert in your calendar for 2 weeks' time from when you sent that email, and just gently remind yourself, email so-and-so with a follow-up. And this is how you want to do the follow-up. The follow-up, the art of follow-up, is to not make it seem like you're pissed off that they haven't replied to you. Because what you want to do is be overly empathetic with the fact there are 1,000,001 reasons why that person might not have replied. Okay, you are not the center of their universe. You didn't expect a reply. You're not angry they didn't reply. You are just generally curious whether you can be of service to them. Okay, so in the follow-up, you want to write something to the effect of, hey, so-and-so, I'm just following up on the email that I sent you the other week. Just wondering if you'd had time to consider it. Absolutely no worries. Appreciate that you're probably very busy. If there's a good time to call this week, let me know. If not, I'll follow up with you again in a couple of weeks' time. Kind regards, or thanks, whatever you sign off your emails with. So something to that effect. Super short, super simple. Always have the email that you sent originally in that chain. So I can't remember whether it's like I think it's like reply. So you just like hit reply to your original email that you sent. Yeah, because that's right, because they wouldn't have had, there wouldn't be a response in between. So you hit reply to the email that you already sent. So they've already got, if they want, it brings that email back to the kind of, the top of their inbox. And also there's something psychologically about seeing RE before like a subject title that makes you go, oh, this must be like a conversation that I've already like had with someone. So actually there's a bit of that psychological like, oh, I'm more inclined to click on it because like that might be someone that's replying to something that I've said and I don't remember that. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a slight little capitalization on psychology there. So you reply to the email, hey, so-and-so, just wanted to quickly follow up with you, or something like that, something to that effect. So, just following up on the email that I sent you the other week about VR films for your company, or just following up on this email that I sent you the other week about using 360 photos to boost your business sales. Appreciate that it's a super busy time right now, but just wondering if I can help, or just wondering if this was of interest to you. If there's a good time to call this week, let me know. If not, I'll follow up again in a couple of weeks' time. Just let me know if you don't want me to. You could even add that in if you wanted to. Like, just let me know if you're not interested, or something like that. Give them the out, basically. So that formula, just quickly breaking that down. So super short, super sweet, just following up on this email that I sent you the other week, which is about, and then a very short summary of what the email was about, literally like a few words. Appreciate you're super busy. Absolutely no worries. Or, something to the effect of, I understand that you don't owe me anything, and you're probably very busy, and I don't want to be a nuisance to you. That's the kind of vibe you're going for. But let me know if I can be of help. Let me know if there's a good time to call, something along those lines. If not, I'll follow up with you again in a couple of weeks. And then if you want, you can then say, if you're not interested, just let me know. So I've repeated that a few times just to give you a few different variations, but that's kind of the formula of follow-up. And you will be amazed with the amount of people that come back to you and go, oh, hey, yeah, sorry for the delay. We'd love to jump on a call. Something like that. Like the amount of times, I would say probably out of probably 10 emails sent, I would say maybe 1 gets back, and then 5, once I've followed up, will then get back within that. And then obviously there's some people that just will never reply because they're not actually interested, but they can't be bothered to reply to say not interested. And that's fine. Again, they don't owe you anything, so that's fine. But there's so much in the follow-up, especially if you are reaching out to very big or very quote unquote important people, because they will have 1,000,001 things to do on their to-do list. Like, I only really go on my emails twice a day now because I try not to get into the weeds of replying to too many emails, because it just, yeah, there's a lot. And it's quite difficult to switch tasks between replying to emails and then doing what I actually need to do to drive my own business and career. So so I really appreciate it, especially because then when you reply and you follow up, it just brings that email to the top of the inbox. And obviously you can start to go into the weeds of like, psychologically, is it better to send like an email first thing in the morning because then it's like at the top of someone's inbox, or is it best to like send it just after lunch because again, like they'll be coming back from lunch? There's all of that stuff that you could think about, but I would keep it simple just for now. I wouldn't think too much into that. Just roughly 2 weeks after you've sent the initial email. I personally don't ever send those kind of emails on a Friday because no one's looking at them on a Friday. No one in the history of the planet wants to be replying to a new potential client or a new potential vendor or a new potential collaborator on a Friday. Could be wrong. In my experience, I've just never seen it happen. So I will always try and send it either midweek or the beginning of the following week. Ideally not on a Monday though, because Monday, again, people have had a weekend, they're coming back, they've got 1,000,001 emails that have come in over the weekend, they've got 1,000,001 things to do, they've got to talk with their team, they've got to, all of that Monday morning stuff that you have to deal with because everyone's back at it again. So ideally, maybe like a Tuesday or a Wednesday is like a good day. And Thursday's a quite good day for a follow-up. But Tuesday, Wednesday for the initial email, maybe a follow-up on a Thursday, a couple of weeks later, or a Wednesday. Either way. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds now, and I want to keep it simple. But yeah, have a go at that. Like, for the next couple of clients that you send emails to, or the next couple of people you do reach out to, just put a note in your calendar to follow up. And you might be pleasantly surprised. I want to hear from you if that does happen. Please let me know, because the amount of amazing emails or messages or DMs that I get from the first email template has really blown my mind. So please let me know if you've had success with this. I hope you do. Reach out to me on social media, Alex Makes VR on Instagram and Twitter. If you've got a subject or a question that you want to ask me that I can address on these podcasts, then you can send me those on social media, or you can send me an email, alexmakesvr@gmail.com. And every single day I'm sending out a short daily newsletter which has the inside scoop on VR business and creative, and a bit of an insight into what I talk about in that day's episode of the podcast, just so you can know whether or not to give that one a listen. If you want to sign up for that newsletter, it's alexmakesvr.com. Okay. I think that's it for the art of follow-up. I think that's probably going to be like the name of a book of mine at one point. I feel like I'd be doing the world an injustice if I didn't bring out a book called The Art of Follow-Up. It's one of those core business practices that gets really overlooked. And once you start to get into the habit of sending an email and then immediately scheduling in your calendar to follow up, it's absolute game changer. Absolute game changer. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Have a great day wherever you are in the world, and I will speak to you tomorrow.